I want you to take another deep breath. And this time I want you to hold it and let it go. One more time. Deep breath. Hold it. Let it go. And I want you to feel the power of your breath to reconnect you to yourself, to reconnect you to God. That literally all we need to do is breathe. If we really believe that God was in charge of our lives, if we really believe that there's a power greater than ourselves at work in every moment of every day, then all we would do is breathe. Just breathe. And the deeper you go into your breath, the deeper you go into your soul. And the deeper you go into your soul, the more you can let go of everything, every thought, every fear, every experience that is not in keeping with God. That in our soul, oftentimes there's so many things. The pain of the past, old thoughts and fears. And today, what if your only job was to breathe? And to release anything that wasn't of God. Let go. And just breathe. Just breathe. And with each breath, we release the pain of the past. With each breath, we release the fear and the anxiety that we've known. With each breath, we actually feel a greater sense of peace and calm and God. God is right there. As we cleanse our soul of all the useless thoughts and feelings and wounds of the past, our soul becomes the holy place, the sacred place, the sanctuary for God. The sanctuary is never outside of us. The sanctuary is within us and all around us. It's your holy place. Your soul is your God place. Don't allow all the wounds of the past to clutter up the most sacred part of you. Breathe. Breathe. And let go. Breathe and let God work at your life. Breathe and let something holy and amazing happen in your soul. Breathe and know the glory of God. In the name and through the power of the living Christ, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen. Okay, so my question for you tonight is, what is your primary spiritual path? See, the reality is that every one of us has the primary way that we are moving into a greater experience of God. For some, it's study. And for those people that are on the path of scholarship, or they expand into a greater experience of God by entertaining spiritual ideas and studying the great minds and the great spiritual teachers. And theirs is a path of spiritual education. And that's how they expand and know more God. For some people, it's prayer is their primary path. For some people, it's silence is their primary path, that they come to know more God. In silence, they experience more and more God. But I'd like to suggest tonight that for most of us, our primary spiritual path is relationships. And that doesn't even mean we have to be in a relationship for a relationship to be our primary spiritual path. And for some of us, we would like it not to be our primary spiritual path. Right? Because sometimes what we are learning from relationships isn't always easy. Right? Have you ever been challenged at all in any of your relationships? Right. So for most of us, over and over again, we get profoundly challenged in relationship, and that's why it's our primary path. Because in relationship, we are getting an opportunity to wake up. And we know we want to wake up, or really, we know we're supposed to want to wake up, right? But there's a certain level of bliss in being unconscious, right? Because then everybody else gets to be wrong, and it doesn't have anything to do with you. I mean, how fun is that? I mean, don't you love that? When you get to tell everybody else how wrong they are because you're the king or queen of your own little universe. Right? And we go through that place over and over again of being unconscious and being unconscious and being unconscious. And then there's something happen where we realize, oh, maybe this relationship really is for my good. Maybe I'm not really the victim here. Maybe I'm the one that's really being blessed by this. So over and over again, what I want you to see, because this year we've dedicated to having breakthroughs. And over again, breakthroughs in every area of your life. And for most of us, the breakthroughs that mean the most to us, that have the greatest impact on our lives, are the breakthroughs that we have in relationships with others. That when we can take a relationship that is stuck or broken or not working at the level we know it can, and when we get a breakthrough there and we find something magic that we knew could be there all along, and we actually experience that, it changes everything. So the real question is, how are you using your relationships to awaken your soul? Now, how many of you were taught that the purpose of you being in a relationship is so that you can give to another? Nobody? 3? Right? A half dozen? A dozen? Right? What I want you to see is that for many of us, we really come into relations thinking that this is our place of giving, and that we really think that the more we give in relationship, the more we're going to get back. And at some level, that's true, right? That as you give, so shall you receive. But what I really want you to see is that every person that you're in relationship with is doing their divine mission, their purpose to help you awaken. And they weren't put there by God. You actually picked them. Right? Isn't that great news? To know that everybody you're in relationship with, you 100% picked at some level, and you said, I want that person to teach me a new lesson. I want that person to awaken my soul. I want to come into a greater experience of myself in relationship with that perfect child of God. Amen? Right? How many of you have a victim story about relationships? right? So how does that serve you? Right? Because the more you have a victim story, the more you get to believe that you had what? No power. It wasn't about me. It was really all about them. I was just this sweet little lamb that got pulled into this awful relationship. But I was the victim. I was the sweet little lamb. Right? It was all the bad wolves that were around me that did it to me. I'm blameless. I have no responsibility in this. Right? And so how does that serve you? Right? Does anybody see that maybe there's an opportunity for each and every one of us in one relationship or maybe two that we could be more powerful and take more responsibility for what happened there, and so that we can use that as a tool for that our soul can really awaken in a greater and greater way? Because all relationships are here to awaken your soul to the glory of God that's within you. All relationships. The Course in Miracles says it this way. All who meet will one day meet again until all relationships become holy. Isn't that great news? Like, you're going to get another chance with your ex. Right? You're going to get another chance with your mother or your father, right? You're going to get another chance with every person that you've ever been in relationship with until all relationships are holy. Yay, God, thank you. What a great way to design a universe that we get to keep having the same relationships over and over and over again until all relationships are holy. Thank you. I'm so excited. Right? So one of the things I want us to look at tonight is really the difference between unconscious and conscious. Okay? So what does it take really to have more unconscious relationships? Anybody want to take a stab at that one? What does it take to have more unconscious relationship? Anybody? More unconsciousness? Yes. I'm going to give you a word. Can you read that? Judgment. The way that we create more and more unconscious relationship is to spend more and more time in judgment. Because in the presence of judgment, what do we choose to do more often than not? Go unconscious, right? Because if somebody's judging us or if we're judging ourselves, how fun is that? Anybody love being judged? Really, I'll invite you to Christmas at my house. It is just a ton of fun, right? Right? So how many of you have a family of origin that was rather judgmental? Anybody? Right? So how much fun was it to be judged? Right? So if you were judged, nobody wants to be judged, so we just go unconscious so we don't have to see it. True? True. So judgment creates unconsciousness because it's not safe to discover. It's not safe to explore. It's not safe to reveal. It's not safe to be present and who you really are. So in the presence of judgment, we tend to go very, very unconscious. Okay, now on the other side, in the presence of what creates consciousness? Love, right? So the more we feel loved, the more we're willing to explore, the more vulnerable we're willing to be, the more we're willing to reveal ourselves, the more we're willing to tell the truth, the more that we're willing to be the man or woman that we came to be. So judgment creates unconsciousness over and over again, right? Love creates consciousness where we actually become more and more transparent. And what I want you to see tonight is that every relationship is poking your soul to get you to wake up, to see yourself. Now, some of the ways that this was taught, which is wrong, and so I'm going to kind of share this with you, okay? How many of you have heard that when you see somebody you don't like, what you're seeing is an aspect of yourself? Wrong. That is categorically not true. And let me tell you why. Okay? That is so not true. And because what happens is that is a very shaming way to learn this process, right? What I want you to see instead is that every time you see somebody that you're either love or hate, challenged with, whatever, I want you to ask yourself the question, where am I doing that to myself? Because then it changes the game. It's not that I've done it in my past. It's not about karma bringing this into me. But the universe over and over again is trying to get you to awaken to the glory of who you are. And the only way that the universe has for, can I draw it? Okay, let me try to draw it, right? So here's you, right? That is exactly how you look to all of us. You are so beautiful and we love you so much, right? Now, we put you in an infinite universe. So as far as you can go in every direction, there's just infinite universe, okay? Well, the problem is, in an infinite universe, you can't see yourself because there's nothing reflecting back on you. So we actually have to be in relationship to see ourselves. We're not seeing our past, we're seeing ourselves. That the moment you put another human being in front of us, now we're looking at a reflection of ourselves in an infinite universe. So every time you come across somebody who lies to you. Now, what we usually say is, well, I must have lied to myself in the past. Such a misuse of karma, right? I think a much better question is, where am I lying to myself now that I need that person to come into my life to show me that I'm doing that to myself? Somebody cheats you? I want you to ask the question, where am I cheating myself now? Because I had to bring this person into my life to demonstrate that I'm doing that to me. See, I'm less concerned about what you've done in the past, and I'm more concerned about what you're doing right now that's even moving you into being more conscious, more awake, or staying more and more unconscious. So every soul in your life, whether you see them on the news, whether you see them in your neighborhood, whether you work with them, whether you see them in the bed next to you when you get up in the morning, whether you see them at family reunions, anything that you see, whether you like it or don't like it, I want you to be curious enough to say, where am I doing that to me? Because that's the most important thing. That the most important thing is for you to become what? Conscious. For you to begin to see yourself in others. And the universe right now is conspiring to wake you up. Over and over and over again, the moment you move into judgment, the moment you think you're bad or wrong, how willing are you to ask the question, where am I doing that to myself? You don't want to know. It's too traumatic. You've been wounded too many times already that you just use it to punish yourself and put yourself down one more time. That's not what this is about at all. The whole universe is trying to love you so much that you can begin to hold the fullness of who you've been created to be over and over and over again. What I want you to see is that in every moment, in every relationship, the universe is trying to reveal you to you even when you don't want to see yourself. The universe is struggling to put just a little mirror so that you can see either the ways that you're blessing yourself or that you're cursing yourself. Not because the universe wants to put you down, not to punish you. This isn't karmic. This is to lift you higher. Ooh, I don't like it. I don't like how it looks when I see somebody lie to me. I don't like how it feels when I lie to myself. I don't like when somebody steals my stuff. I don't like when I steal my own good. I don't like when I'm cheated. I don't like when I cheat myself. I don't like when people use words against me that aren't kind or uplifting. I don't like that. And I really don't like it when I do it to myself. See, you could say, this, I must have done this 13 lifetimes ago, but who cares? The thing that I'm committed to is that right here, right now, you awaken. You stay awake to who you are so you can see yourself from the point of view that God sees you. Right? Does that make sense? Are you with me? Right? So every relationship is trying to get you awake to you. Every relationship, whether it's good or bad, is trying to show you how you're being with you. Because you wouldn't see it if you weren't doing it already to yourself. So when you see somebody that's just being gentle and loving and kind and fabulous and uplifting, guess what? You're doing that to you. When you're seeing somebody who's being a low-down, dirty dog, guess what? Get in line. You're doing it to yourself. So what would happen if we could have a breakthrough in every relationship by just staying conscious? Where am I doing that to me? Where am I not able to hold my own good? When do I use my words against me? When do I cheat myself of the happiness that I want? Where do I put myself down? Being conscious is not always easy, but it is the path of freedom. I choose to stay awake. Will you say that with me? I choose to stay awake. One more time like we mean it. I choose to stay awake. I have enough love in my life to be awake all the time. Together? I have enough love in my life to be awake all the time. So I've got 4 other questions that I want to share with you tonight. And yeah, I'm doing good on time. The first one, 4 questions, other than how am I doing that to myself? The other 4 are, what is this relationship asking of me? And you can ask that physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but I want you to know that in every relationship, it is asking something of your soul. It is asking for a place of growth in you, whether that's physical growth, whether that's emotional growth, whether it's mental growth, whether it's spiritual growth. Every relationship is asking something from you, and I want you to be conscious of it. Anybody having a challenging relationship in any area of their life? That's the place I want you to start. What is this relationship asking of me? Is it asking me to be more loving? Is it asking me more judgmental? Is it asking me to be more forgiving? Is it asking me for me more generous? Is it asking me to believe in myself more? Is it asking me to have boundaries? Is it asking me to play nice? What is this relationship asking of me? 2, what feelings is this relationship triggering? What feelings? Well, I just have supreme joy. Fantastic. Well, I get overwhelmed. Okay, so let's take that a little deeper. So what part of you is overwhelmed? Why do you get overwhelmed? Why do you get angry? Why do you get upset? Why do you get fearful? Let's just become conscious, right? So let's just take that feeling, whatever that feeling is, and actually take it down into your soul and be curious why you feel that in the presence of that person. Because the more that we're willing to be curious, the more we're willing to be conscious, the more that we're willing to be awake, at that moment we can heal that place in us that this person's poking. Well, every time I'm in that person's place, I just feel creepy. Okay, so what's that about? Well, it's about me giving away my power. Like I want them to save me and I don't think they're safe. Okay, so how would you keep yourself safe if you weren't hoping that they were going to keep you safe for you? Right? Every feeling, if we take it deeper, is absolutely trying to awaken us. 3, what fears does this person, if any, provoke in me? See, even good relationships can provoke fear. Right? Have you ever been in a relationship that was so good that your fear was you didn't deserve it? Have you ever been in a relationship that was so good you were afraid they were going to die? You know, have you ever been in a relationship that was so good that you just felt totally insecure and like totally not worthy of this person's love? I want you to see in every relationship, a relationship have this incredible ability to bring up our fears. So I want you to be conscious of that. Richard, I don't like to know these things. Really, Richard, please? I don't know why I come to Wednesday nights. I don't like to know these things. I don't really want to become conscious. I know my soul keeps bringing me back to this place, but I really think it's a big mistake, and I just don't want to hear you anymore tonight. Can I get an amen? Amen, right? Because there's a part of us that doesn't want to do the work. There's a part of us that just wants to blame everybody else when they get their stuff together, when the Republicans or the Democrats or whatever get their stuff together, I'm finally going to be at peace. Amen. Right? And yet, it seems like they just keep changing who's in the White House just to freak out one group or the other. Okay, we freaked out this side long enough. Let's freak out that side for a while. Right? And then the other side, oh, finally we got, right? Finally, right? But everything's at work to wake us up. So where am I doing that to myself? Where am I bullying myself? Or where am I being whatever judgment you have? Where am I doing that to myself? Okay? What is this relationship asking me to do? What is this relationship asking of me? One, what are the feelings that it triggers in me? What are the fears that it triggers in me? And the last one is, who is this relationship asking me to be? And this is the one that's the most important. Because it's always about being. And being the next greatest version of yourself. That we're constantly awakening to greater and greater levels of ourselves. That every time we become conscious, we get to be more of who we are. Like, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be more and more of ourselves. Okay, everybody take a breath. I want you to look at one relationship tonight that you're willing to look at as your teacher, as your spiritual teacher. Doesn't have to be a bad relationship, can be a great relationship. But I want you to look at one relationship right now that you can feel is poking your soul and asking for more of you. And what I want you to see tonight is that you actually need them to poke you. If you don't get poked by them, you'll just create it again. Right? Because the universe has a crazy amount of time. Because the universe has an infinite amount of time. So your little soul gets to dawdle for as long as you want to dawdle. But there's a moment when you're going to be tired of being poked, and you're going to say, I'm ready to become conscious. And the moment we decide we're ready to become conscious, everything's here to bless us. Everything is here to awaken us. So your homework this week is to pick one, just one little relationship, and to go through these 5 questions. And see if there isn't an extraordinary amount of good waiting to reveal itself to you. That there is so much more good for each and every one of us. Will you pray with me? I want you to open your mind, your heart, but most only your heart and your soul to the power of your own awakening, for the power of your own consciousness, to the power of love right here, right now. It's okay for you to be awake. It's okay for you to see yourself. It's okay for you to see your greatness and your power and your love and the fullness of who God created you to be. It's okay for you to wake up. And to wake up all the way. In the name and through the power of the living Christ, we give thanks tonight. And so it is. Amen. God bless you all. Have a great week. Thank you for being here.